When it comes to Assassin's Creed, you either love it or you hate it. Or used to love it and now hate it. Or you hated it and now you love it. Or so on and so forth. But why is that? Why are so many fans now ex-fans of the series, and why has people's opinions on it changed throughout the years? Well, that's because of change. Now, of course, change can be a good thing. Take AC1 and AC2 for example. If you play AC1, you'll notice that there's a lot more talking involved. The camera mostly stays in one place during dialogue, and the audio throughout most of it isn't exactly perfect. Then you look at AC2, there's less talking and more action. Instead of a stagnant camera, there are actually cutscenes to keep you invested, and the audio is actually pretty on point. Now this, I would say, is a good change. The kind of change that didn't make former fans leave, but rather stay as newer fans came along. But then came bad change, and this first bad change would be the first nail getting ready to be put into AC's coffin. Assassin's Creed 3. This one was met with mixed opinions. It was kind of a step forward for Ubisoft, but at the same time, they twisted their ankle. They introduced a combat system that was pretty good, and on certain occasions had us playing as Desmond doing modern-day assassin missions. But at the same time, people didn't like how linear the missions were, Connor's personality was meh, and overall not the leap forward so many people expected. This is where the hammer was being lifted. But to be honest, the story was pretty good. Desmond and his dad had good character development between them throughout the story. I mean, the game was disappointing, but it didn't mean it was bad. Like, there's no way Ubisoft would ruin this any further. Oh no. This was when the hammer was swung down onto the first nail, and that nail may have been the biggest one for some. After being with Desmond since the beginning, they just killed him off like that. But while it made people upset, it also got people curious. What's gonna happen in the next game? Who will we play as? The next game could save this whole thing. Well, it both did and didn't. What I mean is, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. This one, both gameplay and story-wise, was great. They gave the main character, Edward Kenway, a personality, and they gave us some really good ship combat. While ship combat was a thing in AC3, but they enhanced it in this game. And of course, you can't forget those sea shanties. All that and a bunch more made this a good game. But what about outside of the Animus? Well, they got us playing as I don't give a shit. They have us in first person, walking around Abstergo, and doing, I don't know, I don't remember. Oh, but don't worry, there's Sean and Rebecca, see? They're undercover, and then later on you see them again in Syndicate, and that time it's just over a webcam. Basically, Ubisoft not only killed off Desmond, but they also forced the last few main characters to being something less than side characters, which would be a supporting character, if you could even call them that actually. They're more like nods to the fact that, hey, we were in past games once. This is Assassin's Creed's second nail in the coffin. The third nail is actually its quickest nail, like Ubisoft kinda just grabbed the nearest hammer and whacked it on in there, and that would be the launch of Assassin's Creed Unity. Basically, it was a huge glitch fest, and made the game unplayable for some, and even drove away others because by this point, some people just felt like Ubisoft might just be shitting these out and aren't actually focusing on this series like they used to. But then, Assassin's Creed Syndicate came out, and honestly, it was pretty good. I mean, Jacob's personality kind of feels like a copy and paste of Edward's personality, which was also a copy and paste of Ezio's personality. But hey, gameplay's good, story's good, and the characters are good. Honestly, it felt like Ubisoft cared again, and was actually about to take out one of the nails from the coffin. Then they quickly changed their mind, put the nail back in, and while they were at it, they decided to add another one. This one being Assassin's Creed Origins. Now we've been slowly going up through history through the games. But once we're finally getting close to have a cowboy assassin, boom, Ubisoft takes us back to the past, all the way to ancient Egypt. Not saying that Origins is a bad game, but I am saying this is no longer Assassin's Creed. There's less sneaking and more brute force combat, and the same goes to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the same especially goes to the new Assassin's Creed game coming out. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I mean, it looks good, but at the same time, just putting a hidden blade on the character doesn't make it Assassin's Creed. And that's the final nail in the coffin for me. Well, except for the bonus nail. Referencing the past good games doesn't make killing off Desmond any better. So this brings us a total of 5 nails in Assassin's Creed's coffin. Rest in peace, Assassin's Creed. I'll miss you.